Hello everybody, welcome to Accounting 1A or 1B. I'll be using the same video presentation for your orientation for this coming fall quarter for both my Accounting 1A and my Accounting 1B classes. As you can see at the moment, I'm looking at the Accounting 1A homepage inside of our Canvas site. As you know, most likely by now, we're now using a brand new platform to deliver online classes at Foothill. And it looks sort of like this for every single class. Once you log in correctly into the Canvas site, you will see a number of different courses. So in my case, if I go to the very left side of the screen, which is the global navigation panel, you will see different features, including courses, your dashboard, which will be the place where you go to first every day. That has your notifications for every class that you're in that uses Canvas. Also, you can then log on into any of your courses that you're enrolled in. So if you go to that other function, you will be able to see the class that you'll be taking in Canvas. So in my case, I'm teaching 4 different sections of online classes at Foothill this coming fall. You're also going to be using different things here, which I will not go into at the moment. You do it on your own as you explore Canvas, but you will be using Inbox. That's the way to communicate with me throughout the whole quarter. If you want to get in touch with me privately. If you want to do it publicly, you can use the discussion forums within each class. So don't use email. That's one of the points that I want to make, because I get so much junk in that email box that it's basically useless. So please make sure you always use Inbox to send messages to me throughout the quarter, as long as they're private, obviously. Now, I'm going to go back now to the syllabus for our class. And again, I'm here in Accounting 1A, and you will see on the left side here, this is actually the course navigation panel. As always, you have some homepage link announcements which you need to review as you log in every time you log in during each week. And I'm going to require you to log in at least 3 times per week. One on Monday, so you can see the agenda. Modules will be where you go for all the content for the class in the sequence of tasks per week that you need to accomplish. That will be your main place that you're going to be going to. In fact, I'm going to go in and look at that at the moment. I'm going to just go back to home, and you'll see that you will have modules right in there in the home page. You don't have to go to that other link. In fact, I might be taking that off for the quarter in a few minutes. But if you go to the home page, you will see you have a module section, and you can just simply click on that module to go to the right module each week. You have a people link, which I may or may take, I may or may not take out. Again, I'm just like you, learning how to use Canvas, and I'm going to be deciding which features to keep. But I'll definitely keep syllabus, and again, I was on that previously already. And I'll review that very quickly in the next few minutes. You obviously go into grades. As you move forward, you will see your grades throughout the quarter. I'll talk more about that in a different video. You have Net Tutor, which is a way to get help throughout the quarter. It's sort of an automated system. It may or may not be extremely useful, but go ahead and try it. We also have on campus tutorial sessions from 12 to 4 p.m. every day, Monday through Thursday at the STEM Center. So make a note of that. STEM Center from 12 to 4 p.m. Accounting tutors available. And these are actually for part-time instructors that we hired from industry, so they know what they're talking about. Then you have my lab in mastering. That's my accounting lab in this class, and then also in Accounting 1B. You'll be clicking on the My Lab feature inside of modules to access your quizzes, your homeworks, and your tests. And so again, you need to explore that during your first week here coming up. Now let me move on to, let me go back to the syllabus actually for Accounting 1A again. So I'll take a look, here it is. And I'm also going to then show you at this moment, the Accounting 1B syllabus. And you'll notice it's very much the same thing. I use a kind of the same setup with a slightly different content. On the right side of the Canvas syllabus page, you will see that you already have the weights of your grading components that make up your grade. And they're very similar between Accounting 1A and 1B, obviously different content for each class. Attendance means you're going to be logging into Canvas 3 times a week, once on Monday, to get up to, let's say, this will be 33 logins for the whole quarter. If you do that, then you obviously are at a 33 over 33, 100%. So 100% times 5 points for your attendance, you get the full attendance grade. Postings, just to get you into the discussions each week, you'll be posting once per week per chapter between weeks 2 and 10, or actually 11. That means 10 postings per quarter. So if you do 10 postings over 10, that will give you 5 points overall, 5% of your grade for your final grade. There's something called RCs, or reading checks. These are very minor quizzes, 1 quiz per chapter, and that amounts to about 7% of your grade. It's about 7 points, or 1 point per quiz, and that differs between 1B and 1A. And again, I'll show you the 1A. I'll go back to 1A in a second. Homework, about 21% for 1B. Again, you have up to about 8 or 9 homeworks. You can drop off a couple, and only 7 counts, so 7 times 3 points each will be 21%. You've got 2 midterms at 13% each, 1 final at 26%, and 1 project. It's actually a team project, so keep that in mind as we go forward. In terms of the extra syllabus, no, hold on, let me go back to 1A. Similar. RCs 8%, homeworks 24%, and midterm exams 20, final exam 28, and the project as well. Now, I'm in 1A again. I'm going to keep going down. You'll see that you have a description of the course, some learning outcomes. Here, you're given a little bit of a glimpse to the sort of the progression of your class. You'll see that in the first case, in the first few weeks, you're going to be covering in Accounting 1A chapters 1 through 4 and the project, and then you get to the midterm exam number 1. Part 2 of the class will be chapters 5 through 7, then midterm 2, and finally at the end, chapters 8 and 9, and then you have final exam. Here's a little more detail in terms of the actual parts for your Accounting 1A. Similarly with Accounting 1B, here's the description of Accounting 1B, that the prerequisites 1A, as you already know. Here is what your outline looks like. Chapters 10 through 12, project. Actually, the project will be later, so this actually is a mistake there. I'm going to take that out. The project is at the end in the case of Accounting 1B. Midterm 1 comes up to chapters after chapter 12, 10 and 12. I'm really trying to make this fast so that you don't get too bored. And then you've got part 2, chapters 14 and 15, which then takes you to midterm 2. Part 3 will be the last 2 chapters. Then you have the project and the final exam. And here's again a more detailed view of those parts. For both classes, I've included this little piece here that shows you the coursework in the program, in the accounting program, which we have a very robust, very broad, one of the best accounting online programs in the country, actually. We're very proud of that. And as you can see, there are different types of coursework that you can actually go into. Right now you're in 1A or 1B, and you will take 1C at some point. You have other more technical courses coming up if you wish to take them. And then you've got more advanced classes that will actually prepare you basically for the CPA exam if you want to do that. We can talk more about these things if you want in the discussion boards, but for now, that's your overview. Keep in mind that also these are the basis for getting certificates in the program, and you would be emailing me since I'm the chair of the department I will be the one reviewing your application, and I will be the one providing you with the certificate if you qualify for any of these as you move forward. If you want to look into other parts of the other classes that are scheduled for this quarter or following quarters in accounting, you can go to this link there. Keep moving. The textbook is the same for both classes, including also even 1C. So one book, one access code for my accounting lab for the whole sequence of accounting 1A, 1B, and 1C. So you only pay once. You actually have you should be buying the textbook and the bundled my accounting lab access code from our bookstore. We already have made arrangements. It's a great price. You cannot beat it for the 3 classes especially. But if you want to buy either differently for whatever reason, you have options B and C right there. And the same thing applies for accounting 1A and 1B, and obviously later 1C. Let's see, once you actually do purchase the book, then you're going to be going into Canvas, and using this link up here, you will go in there and you will go through the process of registering in the right section. And it will just, it's basically automatic if you have the access. But if you don't have the access right away and you don't have the money to pay right away, you do have a 14-day option to be able to access my accounting lab and be able to do all the work without missing anything. So I suggest that you actually get in there as soon as possible and just get going. There's no reason to miss any assignments. We have a couple already in the first week. Here's a little more info on the book. A few comments about computer requirements. Please read that on your own about how we communicate in class. I'm going to be making announcements basically every day or every couple of days. Make sure you keep up, because that's what keeps you updated with the class. Email, please don't use email. Use inbox if you want to, again, reach me privately. Discussion forums. Each week there's a discussion forum. As part of your class participation grade, you can post into those forums chapter questions, but also if you have other questions, you can also use basically the My Office Q&A forum if you wish. There are no office hours in my office specifically for this class, so all our office hours are online, and so that's the reason you need to use inbox for that if you need some help and if you need to talk to me. In terms of turnaround feedback, I'm pretty on 24/7 for the most part, Monday through Friday. I do have a sort of a social life, just a little bit of it every weekend. So you will notice that I say our work week goes from Monday through Friday. Friday at noon is cutoff. I do have to use the weekend to prepare other material to grade. I do go into the discussion forums once in a while over the weekends, but I hardly, I try not to do any sort of posting. So make sure you actually post early if you need some help. Now there are some deadlines over the weekend. That's for your convenience to be able to submit work. But in reality, expect your calendar or create your calendar around the class with the expectation that the class runs from Monday through Friday up to 12 noon. Other things about Netiquette, if you wish. There's a little more information about course participation and weekly assignments. Keep going. And here's the grading components, as I said before. You already have seen them up there in the right section of this page. But here's a little more detail in terms of how each of the grading components works. Here's the grading scale that applies to all classes at Foothill College. And so you should review all of those things. A little more about other course policies. Late work, not accepted, obviously. Dropping the class, that's very important. Make sure that you drop the class before the second week of this quarter if you don't want a W. But if you beyond the second week, then you can actually drop the class with a withdrawal with a W in your transcript by the sort of the 8th week or so. The calendar has those dates, but you should always on your own check those dates on the college website just to make sure you have the right dates. Needless to say, academic honesty is expected. If you have any special needs, go to the DRC, Disabilities and Resource Center on campus. Please contact them. There will be other, sometimes you need some help, and so you can use these links to get some additional help as you need. In terms of the calendar, I wanted to make sure that you all see that the setup is pretty easy. Each week is actually sectioned off in the calendar, so week 1 through week 12, and the blue sections here refers to the content of each week. So for accounting 1B, for example, in week 1, we covered chapter 10, accounting for plant assets. For that chapter, sorry, I have something in my mouth. There's a reading check, meaning a little quiz that is due by Wednesday of this coming week. There's also, as part of your orientation tasks, which is part of your module 0, as you'll notice when you get into the Canvas. You will make a posting of your little bio so people know who you are. You will need to do, get into teams at some point, and so I know some people, hopefully. For week 2, we continue chapter 10, and there will be homework 10 due, and here are the actual static items printed on your textbook at the end of chapter 10. And so the answer keys are in the module. So you can actually review those keys against the problems that I have assigned on your own. And then once you're done with that, you go into MAL, at my accounting lab, and then you actually are able to then take that homework there. And you can use, again, the keys to review how I and how the authors have solved the problem. But also MAL itself, as you take the homework items there, they have some tools that show you how to solve the problem as well. So you can use a variety of resources to learn how to solve the problems. At any point, if you don't understand either my modules or the tools inside of MAL, you can obviously always use the discussion forums for chapter 10 in this case to ask questions, and I can respond to them. So use these resources as much as possible to learn how to solve homework problems, because they are the basis for eventually also the problems in the exams. By the way, the homework in MAL is the very same homework items as the ones you're going to be reviewing from your textbook, except for that they're going to be different numbers or different names, but it's going to be basically the same. So it's actually a pretty easy alignment between what you review and what you see in my accounting lab when you take these items. Then there's also for week 2 a posting, and this is part of your participation grade. You're going to be posting once per week per chapter, so that's due here. So again, for each of these items, you see a due date as you can see here. Here's the drop deadline without a W note that I have placed in the calendar, and here's the rest of the calendar. And notice that we have midterm exam 1 due in week 4, and I'll send an announcement before this with some detail on this exam. Midterm number 2 is due by week 9. This is accounting 1B. Remember that the deadline for dropping with a W, without a W, I'm not sure, with a W, will be November 23rd. And then the project is due in the last week of the quarter. Final exam is also due on obviously that week. Make sure you're able to make those dates for the exams. There's no way for me to change these. A few other notes here. Make sure you read all these notes. They're going to be important to you. And there are other things here that you should actually come and read carefully. I think that basically covers most of what we need to do for the class. In terms of accounting 1A, is very similar. All I'm going to do for accounting 1A that is a little different is to review the calendar, because everything else is kind of the same. So I'm going to go all the way down here and review the first few weeks, the first couple of weeks actually. Week 1, we covered chapter 1, all of it. Both the reading check and the homework is due in the very first week. And then in week 2, we've got chapter 2. We have to move very, very fast, so make sure that you actually get up and running with the class as soon as possible. The project is due actually in week 6, and then the midterm exam comes right after that in that same week. Midterm number 2 is week 9, and then at the end you have the final exam also on Thursday. So make sure you review this, and if you have any questions, again, you can always go to the discussion forums. Let me show you what that looks like. One more point, and it again applies to all my classes that use Canvas, Accounting 1A, 1B in this case. Now we're moving towards that at the moment. It's going to take a little bit of time because I know my house is actually a little slow. There it comes. So here's the orientation module 0 for week 0 basically, and so you're gonna have to go into each of these. Well, you go into this link first and you go in sequence, otherwise you cannot move forward. So that's one of the beauties of Canvas, that you actually are given sort of a pathway to follow. As you can see here in the Q&A discussion forum for week 0, you can use that to ask me any question regarding the class. Once you're done with it, with module 0, you can move on to week 1, and there's a week 1 overview. Administratively, what you need to do for each week. Week 1 lecture, since these are lecture notes. My own lesson and homework review. Some questions for review if you wish. Here's a reading check link that you're going to be using to actually go into MAU. Homework link to go into MAU and take the homework there. It's your weekly class participation posting, a little summary page, and then your week 2 preview. And so that's the same process you follow each week. For Accounting 1B, it's a very similar process, so I won't go into that. For now, that is it. I don't want to make this longer than it has to be. I hope you enjoy the class. I am very much looking forward to this quarter. By the way, there's a little bit of videos that I sometimes place in the middle of the home page, and in this case I have this little sway that I learned how to use just recently. So it's brand new. If you click on this, you can actually just view it here, but it's kind of small. You can always click on it like this. It will take you to the sway itself, and you can just scroll down and see what it's about. I have videos embedded in here. It's pretty cool, and you can just see other things in here. By the way, here's the structure of Accounting 1A, 1B, and 1C if you want to do that, and it also prompts you to do what I just told you to do for week number 1. Here's some links to the accounting program site and other things that I may place there later. Enjoy again your first week. If you have any questions, use the messages in the inbox or post them in the discussions that I just showed you. Take care. Bye-bye.